Okay, so today I finally got my fittings in for the ABS delete, but I've been working on some other stuff too. I was taking some weight out of the car. I took the hydraulics for the convertible top. I took all that stuff out. I was worried the convertible top would be hard to open and close with all that stuff out, but I mean, it opens and closes really easy. You can actually stand on the side of the car and just reach in there and pull it back and pull it back up. It's not that heavy at all, and it stays down while you're driving, so that's good. I'll let you take a look at that. So here's all the hydraulics that come off of the convertible top. Not sure what all that weighs. I'd say it's a good 10-15 pounds. I'll probably weigh it later. I'll just weigh it with the bucket, and then I'll take the bucket. I'll take all that out and then weigh the bucket or the old garbage can or whatever. But behind that panel is where the shock looking things went, and then the lines ran around the back, and they came around here, and that's where the hydraulic pump was. And another thing I was doing was I'm removing my rear bumper support. I've already removed the front bumper support, and so far I just took the tail lights out, which, you know, there's two screws, one there, they're 10 millimeter, and those went here and here, and then you got that piece that goes across the back there. I forgot what that's called, but it's got a stud there and a stud there. That went here and over here, I think. And then to remove the bumper cover, there's two bolts that go there and there on the side there, but those were already out. I might have to get some bolts for that. On this side, alright, anyway, on this side there's two there and there. I gotta take those out. I'll have to get some for the other side because that side does droop down a little bit. And then we gotta take the marker out. It looks like a Torx head bit, and I think there's some bolts up under here to take out, but I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna do that first, then we're gonna work on the ABS delete. I also took the passenger seat out. I took the rear speakers out too, and I think I'm gonna take the passenger seat and move it over to the driver's seat, because the driver's seat, it's got that power motor in there, and it's supposed to make it a lot heavier, like 10-15 pounds heavier. And I know that's going to put my little lever on the wrong side, but it's just a for now thing until I can get some race seats. I'm debating on those cotton race seats, I forgot what they're called, or just going with some Jegs or Kirkies, which I'm pretty sure you have to kind of make brackets and weld those in, and I don't know. I'm still debating on what seats I want to get, but I'm definitely switching the seats out, and I've already talked to a guy about putting a roll cage in. It's taking a while to get back to me, and I could surely use to lose at least 150 pounds. That'd probably put me in the tens right there, but that's what we're going for. We're going for 10s on motor and 9s on nitrous. So far we've got 10, 12, and 120, or 11, 12 at 122 on motor, which if I was 100, 150 pounds lighter, that'd probably put me in the 10s there. Definitely need to lose some weight, but oh well, I love food. And another thing I think would just put me in the tens on motor would be the stall converter. It's way too tight. I talked to Yank and they said I shouldn't see more than a 1,000 RPM drop on shifts, and this thing on motor, it drops like 1,800, 1,600 on shifts. So that stall is way too tight. And then for the ABS delete, I got my other fittings in that I needed that were on back order from Jegs. I got 2 of those. And then I got the line flare tool. But we're going to get that bumper out of there first. I'm pretty sure my old carport, it's a carport garage. Kind of change subjects real quick there. I got a carport garage that's been enclosed. When I moved in here, those were sitting in the corner over there, just all stacked up, and I put my tools in them now, my car parts. So that's kind of cool. Works as a cheap man solution. Works as a toolbox. And then the gravel floor. I need to pour some gravel in here because laying on gravel floor is working on your car. It kind of sucks. But anyway, kind of change subjects there. I'm going to get this bumper support out first. And I'm pretty sure once you take the cover off, there's 4 bolts back up inside there on this side and on the other side to take the bumper support out. But yeah. We're going to work on that first, and then we'll get into the ABS delete. Another thing that I was going to try to get done today was I posted on one of the Facebook groups for LT1 cars asking if a hole way up here in your dipstick tube would cause an oil leak. And everybody was like, no, not that far up. Well, yes it will. Because that's where the hole is in mine. It's right there. I guess where it got moved around on the bracket pulled a hole in it. But I got a new dipstick. I put the old one back in, but I put a whole bunch of silicone on it, and it does still leak, but it's a lot better than it was. But we got a new oil dipstick now. We're going to put that in. Then for the ABS delete, we got master cylinder bleeder kit. That way I can take the lines off, put this bleeder kit on. That way all the fluid don't drain out of my master cylinder. But I'll work on this bumper support delete, and then I'll get back with you. Alright, so we got the bumper cover off. And there was a bolt here that goes up in the fender on this side, right above the tire, right there. And then you got them little plastic things like that. I forgot what they're called. But anyway, well, another thing on this, which kind of is upsetting, if you're taking the harness off, if you're just taking the bumper cover off just to get the bumper out, you don't even have to take the side markers out. You just unplug that and bring the harness down with it for those side markers. Oh well. Hopefully I'll get one of those at the junkyard, or I'll just try to glue that one back together. But I'll slide in here and get these bolts. There's the underneath of the car. Only thing done to it, 8.8 rear end and lower control arms. That's it. And there's the 4 bolts on this side to take the bumper off. And the same thing on the other side. I think those are 15 millimeter now that I'm looking at them. It don't look like they are. Someone told me that was 15 millimeter, so I'm gonna have to get up and get another one, because I'm pretty sure those are 14 looking at them. Yep, they're 14. Dang it. All right, I'm gonna get all those out, take that off, and get back with you. and the bumper support's off. And there's the 4 bolts on each side, 8 total. And those wound up being 13 millimeter. I watched a video on this before I did it. And those were 15 millimeter. So I don't know. A little bit of rust on the bottom there. And then that bolt broke clean off. But anyway, it's not as heavy as I thought it'd be. It's actually pretty light. I picked it up. But yeah. But anyway, that's off. So now to put everything back together, and then we'll work on the ABS delete. On this piece here where the bolts were broke off, I just drilled a hole and run a bolt through the other side. That's how they're supposed to be. I guess those little inserts are glued in there, and then the bolt just sticks out. See how that does. So one thing I forgot when pulling this bumper cover off, make sure to disconnect the license plate light too. I pulled it apart. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the wires are down over here, and they went to these wires. It doesn't look like this was even hooked up for the side markers, but it looks like somebody had been messing around in here, because this ain't right. See, I got these things in here. Looks like someone had hooked up a trailer to it at one point, because that's a trailer plug-in right there. But anyway, when you pull your bumper cover off, make sure to disconnect the tail light, or you're going to pull that apart like I did. But like I said, the side markers weren't hooked up anyway, so we're going to go ahead and fix that and toss the bumper cover back on. That bolt on this side was pushing the fender out too, for the bumper cover out too far. So I took that bolt out, and I'm just going to use that bolt. That bolt pushed up in there, it sets good, nice and flush, so I'm just going to use that one bolt. I'll just leave that one out. There wasn't even none over there before. Someone's had all this off before messing with it. Because that wire right there, that's like a wire that you'd use in your house for like a lamp or something. That's not typical wire that would be on a car. But I'm going to wire the side markers up and fix the license plate light and put it back up in there. There's where I'm at. Bumper's wanting to sit down lower over here than on the other side. The bolts they had in this part right here, it looks like the self-tapping screws were supposed to be in there or something like that, but the other side's it broke. I don't know what they've done with this thing, but the bumper covers want to set way too close to the tire on this side. I'll get that all straightened out. But something else I noticed, when you put this piece back on, the bolts here, they're fine thread. The ones that hold the tail light on, they're coarse thread, so don't get those mixed up like I did. I was screwing one of the coarse threads on there, on that one, and it didn't want to go on. And then those go on the very ends, and then your headlights go there and there in those holes. But that's where we're at so far. Well, I got it all back together. All the lights work. All 4 of the marker lights were blowed. There's a marker light there, and then that marker light. And then I had a reverse light blowed, and I changed it. And then they were working, now it's not working. I don't know what's going on. I'm about to tear the center console out anyway, because this car don't go into first gear. I was gonna break that tab off and make it go into first gear. I checked it with a a voltmeter, and they wasn't even getting volts back here. So I'm thinking something happened at that switch where I was putting it in reverse and park so much, but I don't know. We'll see. On this right here, I drilled that out and put a nut and bolt in there. I did the same thing on the very bottom. If you can see that. Put a nut and bolt in there. And yeah, it's all done. That's where my nitrous bottle goes and the heater. Got the carpet all back in. Now, I'm going to take the center console out and break that tab off so it'll go into first gear and see why the reverse lights ain't coming on. See if that switch is acting up. Because like I said, it's not even getting voltage back there. Spiders all over the street tires. I put the street tires back on it because I'm taking it to get a dyno tune on November 9th. It's short tuning. So they say the drag radials don't do too good on the dyno, so we put those on there. So I'm gonna take that seat out first and then take the center console out. I'm gonna see if I can put the passenger seat over there because it's lighter. Take the seat out, take the center console out. Center console's pretty easy to get out. There's on the very front, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but on the very front of the shifter, I don't know if it'll focus, but it's in there. There's a little metal piece. You just take a flathead screwdriver, pry that out, and that pops off. Then you pop this off, and there's a bolt down in here, and then there's a couple of bolts down in here, and then there's one bolt up there which I never put back in, and put it like in neutral or drive, and it all pops off. You have to raise the emergency brake up some. But yeah, I'm gonna take the seat out, take that out, and then we'll work on the ABS delete. I got the center console out. And for those, also, I don't think I mentioned this before, but this has to come out. Usually what I do is I stick my finger in this hole, and if you lift up real high, it'll pop out at the bottom from those clips, and you pull it out from the bottom, it slides out, and then you just unplug the plugs. That one has those two large clips on it, and then that one's just got the regular little clip on the side. Now to get your shifter to go into first gear, that plastic block right there is what's blocking it. So that's what's got to come out to get it to drop all the way down into first. Some of these models, they won't go into the first gear. I think I read online it's something about noise level or something has to do with it. The car was too loud in first gear, so it locked it out to where you couldn't put it in first gear, and I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna knock that block out and get it to go in first. Alright, so the black tab's out of there. It went right in front of that metal piece. And here it is. Everybody says you can pop these out. That thing wouldn't pop out. I had to take a blade and cut it out. But it's out now. And it does go into first now. Oh, turn the key on. And there's first. Second. Drive. Neutral. Reverse. And park. Yep. So if you ever want to fix yours to go into first, there's a little plastic thing right in front of that metal thing you got to cut out. I wouldn't bust that thing out because it's part of this and you're liable to break this. So I just cut it out with a hacksaw blade. I got the console back in. And it goes down into first gear now. I took the emergency brake handle out. None of the emergency brake stuff's hooked up. It's all been taken out. I had it out before, but I put it back in for the LTX shootout because I didn't know if they'd say anything, because on the extreme street, you're supposed to have all your panels and stuff in, and you're allowed to have the back seats out, but you're supposed to have all the carpet and the panels in. So I just had that in there for the LTX shootout. I took it back out. There ain't no sense having it in there. It doesn't do anything. It's not hooked up to anything. All of it's been taken out. All of it's been taken out. All the way to the brakes and the wires and everything. It's all been taken out. And then the kind of feels stupid, but the reverse light problem wound up being a fuse. And the funny thing about it is, I checked those fuses, and I must have just accidentally skipped one. And the one I skipped, apparently, the one I skipped was the one that was blown. Because, come to find out, the turning signals didn't work either. So the turning signals and the reverse lights go off that one fuse. But yeah, it's all working now. So, got the street tires on for the dyno, got the bumper out of the back, got all the lights working in the back. I had to make a couple of trips to the parts stores to get bulbs and stuff to get all the lights to work. Bolted all that up like I showed before. This marker broke, but there's actually an enclosed hole in there. And that light's not going to fall out. I mean, it's hard to even get the light snaked out of that hole. So when it's on, I mean, you can't see it on the ground anyway. I mean, I figured where it was broke like it'd shine on the ground, but it's in an enclosed hole inside there. So I just set it in there and put the side marker back on, and it works good. As you can, let me turn the light out here. See? You can't see it shining on the ground or nothing. But all the marker lights were blown. That one, just this side one right here. And the same thing on the other side. And then the reverse lights work, the brake lights work. The license plate works now, which, as I said earlier, I accidentally probably needs cleaning. It ain't shining that bright. Yeah, it's dirty. Oh well. You can see it anyway. But yeah, did not get to the ABS delete. I'm going to work on that tomorrow. Oh, another thing I was going to do. I bought, and they're right over here, I bought a velocity stack, and I bought a 3 to 4 inch. The velocity stack's 4 inches on the end. Then I bought a 4-inch flexible hose, and then a 3.5 inch to 4 inch coupler in there. What I'm going to do with that, turn the light back on here, is I don't have the filter on there right now. But that ram air setup I've got, it comes out right here. Yeah, you can see it hangs right there. So we're going to put the coupler on there, and I'm going to run that 4-inch pop down through there and right out the fog light hole, because I took the fog lights out. And I'm going to put that velocity stack right there on that, and then when I'm racing, I'll have it coming straight to the velocity stack, and then when I'm not racing, I can pull it off the velocity stack and then just put the filter on the end of that 4-inch flexible tubes. That way it's got the filter on it, but it'll still be in that same location. But yeah, when I'm racing, I'm just going to go up underneath there and take it off and have it run straight to the velocity stack. That way air's going straight into that velocity stack and straight up into the intake. And then still got to do the ABS delete. It's dark. I've been trying to figure out why them reverse lights wouldn't come on all day. I can't believe I did that. Check all the fuses, and I must have skipped one. Just got lost where I was in pulling them, and then I got to thinking, yeah, I was checking everything. I checked the neutral safety switch. I jumped it. It wasn't getting power even to the neutral safety switch where it should have been to send it to the reverse lights. So I was like, and then I tried the turning signals, and turning signals wasn't working. I was like, yeah, that's got to be a fuse. So I started looking at the fuses again. Sure enough, blowed fuse. I changed the fuse, everything worked, but I messed with that way too much today. And it's dark now. And I only got one light in this garage. I mean, I got a drop light, but them drop lights drive me crazy because you can never get them in the right spot for you to see, and then they fall, or they're shining in your face and you can't see what you're doing. So I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow until it's light out, and then do the ABS delete, and then do that intake, and then we still gotta do the old dipstick. But yeah, here's all the weight we took out of it. There's the rear bumper. There's the hydraulics for the top. That's actually kind of heavy. Oh, better turn the lights out so we don't run the battery dude. And then we got this out of there too. Cat's on got the passenger seat out. Got the rear speakers out. And then all this stuff for the seat belts. Got it out for the passenger side. I was looking at that driver's side a little bit. And I mean, it does not look nowhere near the same as the bottom of that passenger seat. So I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'm going to look at it a little bit more tomorrow. But catch y'all tomorrow.